Imagine ruling an empire so vast that the sun seems to rise and set on your command. Imagine carrying a crown so heavy that it demands not only power, but sacrifice, strategy, and absolute control. And all of this, while surrounded by men whose whispers could build or break a dynasty. This is the world of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. Today we dive into the secret world of Suleiman and his advisors, the grand viziers, scholars, generals, and confidants who shaped the fate of an empire, and the man who ruled it. Surrounding Suleiman were men of immense talent and ambition. Pargalı Ibrahim Pasha, once a slave, later the empire's second most powerful man. Rustem Pasha, the calculating strategist with unmatched administrative brilliance. Lutfi Pasha, the disciplined military commander and jurist. Şehzade Mustafa's circle, advisors whose influence threatened to reshape the empire. The sheikhs, the muftis, the scholars, especially the great Ebussuud Efendi, Suleiman's architect of law. Their voices crafted policy, war campaigns, alliances, and the empire's very identity. But with great influence comes great danger. Each advisor became a piece on a vast imperial chessboard, where a single wrong move could end in exile or execution. The throne room of Topkapi Palace is a world of silence and ceremony. Gold mosaics gleam beneath torchlight. Velvet curtains fall heavy against the marble walls. Every step echoes like a decision yet to be made. And seated at the center, the young Sultan Suleiman, newly ascended to the throne in 1520. At his side stands Ibrahim, not yet a vizier, but already a voice that the young sultan trusts above all others. Their bond is forged not by birth, but by destiny. Two men who were once equals in youth, now divided by the weight of a crown. In Magnificent Century, this relationship is portrayed with poetic intensity. Two brothers in spirit, yet one is destined to rule, and the other destined to serve. In the early period, Ibrahim becomes the whisper behind the curtain, shaping Suleiman's vision of rulership. But no bond in the palace remains unchallenged for long. Ibrahim's rise is breathtaking, both in the series and in history. Ibrahim proves unstoppable. He negotiates treaties with Venice. He leads successful campaigns against Hungary. He reforms military logistics. He constructs the diplomatic image of the empire in Europe. The palace whispers call him the Sultan of the world's second half. And that is where the danger begins. In Magnificent Century, Ibrahim's elegance becomes arrogance. His confidence becomes presumption. And his closeness to power begins to overshadow even Suleiman himself. To rule is to balance loyalty and suspicion. A balance Suleiman must preserve at all costs. By the 1530s, cracks begin to show. Ibrahim makes decisions without consulting the Sultan. He signs documents with titles that overstep his station. And worst of all, his alliance with Şehzade Mustafa, Suleiman's beloved eldest son, becomes a threat. Not treason, not disloyalty, but influence. Influence in the Ottoman court is dangerous. And with Hürrem Sultan rising in power, Ibrahim stands at the crossroads of palace politics. In the series, this tension becomes artistry. Suleiman's gaze grows colder, Ibrahim's confidence grows bolder, and the shadows between them deepen. Historically, Ibrahim's downfall was complex, a combination of political missteps, foreign policy tensions, and court intrigue. But the result remains the same. Suleiman orders the silent execution of the man he once called brother. A crown weighs most heavily when it demands the life of a friend. The death of Ibrahim leaves the empire shaken. But a sultan must rule, and an empire must continue. Into the void steps Lutfi Pasha, a disciplined military man. He is loyal, methodical, respected, but lacks Ibrahim's charisma. His time as Grand Vizier is short and marked by military campaigns and legal contributions. But the true shift comes with the rise of Rustem Pasha. Rustem is not a warrior like Ibrahim. He is a strategist, an administrator, a man who sees the empire not through emotion, but through cold calculation. And importantly, he is married to Mirima Sultan, Suleiman's daughter. This ties him directly to Hürrem's faction, a power block that dominates palace politics in the 1540s. Rustem secures taxes, strengthens infrastructure, and expands bureaucratic efficiency. But he is also ruthless, cunning, and deeply distrusted by the janissaries and nobility. His greatest political maneuver will come soon, one that changes Ottoman history forever. No advisor's story is complete without acknowledging the tragedy of Mustafa. The prince is beloved by the army. He is charismatic, disciplined, respected, and considered the natural heir. Political tensions grow. Letters are forged. Whispers fill the corridors of the harem and the barracks. And Suleiman, a man torn between love, fear, and duty, makes the most devastating decision of his reign. In a tent in Aleppo, surrounded by soldiers who once adored the prince, Mustafa is brought before his father. Magnificent Century dramatizes this moment with heartbreaking intensity. A father unable to look into his son's eyes, a son who walks proudly to his fate, a silence heavier than any crown. Mustafa dies, and with him dies the old balance of the empire. Rustem Pasha remains Grand Vizier, but his influence is now stained with the blood of a prince. Not all advisors wield swords or political schemes. Some shape the empire through ideas. Ebussuud Efendi, the Sheikh-ul-Islam, becomes Suleiman's companion in crafting the legal identity of the Ottoman state. Together, the Sultan and the scholar create the Kanun, the legal code that modernizes the empire, systematizing taxation, land rights, criminal law, administrative structure. Ebussuud balances Islamic law with pragmatic governance, giving Suleiman the title of Kanuni, the lawgiver. His influence is intellectual, ideological, and lasting. While palace factions fight, plots emerge, and rivals fall, Ebussuud becomes the quiet architect of the empire's stability. In his later years, Suleiman is no longer the young conqueror who expanded borders with unstoppable force. He becomes a reflective ruler, burdened by decades of decisions, betrayals, and sacrifices. Hürrem dies. Ibrahim is long gone. Mustafa is dead. Rustem rises and falls from office, only to return again. Suleiman's advisors change, but the weight of judgment falls only on him. Magnificent Century portrays an aging sultan walking through the quiet courtyards of Topkapi, remembering those who once walked beside him. Every decision, every battle, every advisor's whisper echoes through his mind. A ruler is never truly alone, but the responsibility is theirs alone to bear. Suleiman's reign stands as one of the most documented, dramatized, and admired chapters of Ottoman history. But behind the campaigns and conquests, behind the love stories and tragedies, lies the truth. A ruler is shaped by the voices around him. Ibrahim Pasha, Rustem Pasha, Lutfi Pasha, Mustafa's circle, Ebussuud Efendi, each left their mark on Suleiman and the empire he led. Some guided him, some challenged him, some betrayed him, some immortalized him. Together, they reveal a simple reality. The weight of a crown is never carried by one man, but by all those who stand behind the throne. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Magnificent Century and the history behind it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment which advisor you want a full video about next.